Greetings, royal queens and kings. It's your host, Queen Tulsa, and welcome back to the Queen Tulsa Show. Listen here, this is a great evening. Today is Tuesday, June the 3rd, 2025. The current time is 10:32 p.m. Central. Tommy drunk Castro's wild courtroom antics. Passa, Knuck, and Bucking. Vivian under fire. In this intense episode, we dive into the shocking events surrounding Vivian and her alleged actions against her husband. We explore the complexities of social cues and decision making, especially when intoxication is involved. Jay Wilson heated remarks about confronting Castro add fuel to the fire as he expresses his frustrations over Castro's drinking habits. Meanwhile, Tommy's awkward attempts to engage in a conversation about intimacy lead to a confrontation that escalates quickly. Vivian's attempts to mediate are overshadowed by the chaos, leaving viewers questioning the dynamics at play. Join us as we unpack these dynamics, interactions, and the underlying insecurities that drive them. Listen here, we've got a lot to get into, so let's go ahead and get into it. Yes, welcome, Royals. We are in the game room on this evening. My kiddos are actually watching movies tonight. My oldest is out in boot camp. And so I'm just sitting here, just relaxing, just taking in the day. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the higher power, my Lord and Savior. Um, I'm glad to be here. And I'm here for a purpose. It is the summertime and the people are ready to jam it up with the content. Okay. Now let's get into it. So I was over at Passa's channel. I was in the bushes, in the cloud. Well, I'm not going to say in the bushes. I was in the clouds, like people say, I'm in the clouds, Or, what? Actually, I was in my chair. I was on my throne over there past this. Okay. Just watching in my throne, on my throne. So let's start with this. So you've got Tommy over there, you've got Castro over there, and you have Brian over there, you have Vivian over there, you got Jay Wilson over there. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's Pride Month or something like that. Like they were just, oh my God, they were just so fired up. Um, I don't know if Jay Wilson's going through a breakup or not. You know what I'm saying? But he's been on edge. Somebody call and check on him. Okay. See how he's doing. Okay. Listen here. So we're gonna get into the content. So I want to get into this. Tommy wants to get, he wants to get it from the back door. He doesn't want to get it physical. He's saying, you know what, Jay Wilson, because Jay Wilson lost his temper and he went in on Tommy like he wanted to be with Castro. Like he was, you know, next in line to have Castro to himself. And he said, listen here, you little skinny thing. I will do you like you do Castro. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Listen here. He said he will get you together. And he also made comments that Tommy would be on somebody's barbecue grill, burning up. Yes, the pastor said that, child. Yes, he did, honey. He told that man, listen here, you can get it. You can come down here on a Greyhound. You can come down here in the caravan. You can come down here in the mega bus or however you gonna get here. But he told him to make his way to where Jay Wilson was. He even gave out his zip code. I'm like, what? I'm like, whoa, like, really, has it gotten that serious? I mean, are we really jumping out of our body over somebody on the internet, over a man that's had a few drinks in his home where he pays the rent? Like, are we really tripping on that? And if it was really that serious, why didn't you drop him down? Why didn't you drop him down? You always could have dropped him down now. I mean, I'm just saying, if we're going to we just have questions. We got questions. Hashtag we got questions. Okay, so let me go through my notes because I made a few. I didn't make a lot. Let's see. What do we have here? Okay, so Vivian decided that it was pleasant to make a joke and say, well, people think that I unalive my husband. Like, ma'am, that was not funny. That was not cute because there are some women out there that have. Okay. And we don't need you, like, I don't know. It wasn't, I feel like it was inappropriate. I feel like it was inappropriate. I feel like Vivian was out of order. I'm going to be honest. I feel like Vivian was very much so out of order. And you know what? If you notice, if y'all look at the live that, when he comes back after he got somebody try to take his channel out. This woman is trying to like talk while the fellas is there. And Tommy had already told Vivian, he don't care about no women, honey. He wants a man. He's there for the man. He's there for Jay Wilson, honey. He said, ma'am, you can scoot right on to the side. I don't need you up in this. I am here for this man. I mean, Tommy was over there serenading for Jay Wilson. I mean, because, being that the queen has made it a safe place here to come out, and shout out to our royals, Miss Real Mama Fifi, she had come out over here. And when you guys see her, tell her happy pride and support her. And, you know, I'm a leader, and some people, they don't like it. It's like I keep it up front, and it's like some people, they just can't keep it real. And that's okay, y'all. That is okay. But you just got to stick to the task. Okay, so speaking of sticking to the task, let's get back to my notes. All right, so I just thought that was a distasteful comment that Vivian said. I mean, oh no, it was distasteful. Okay, so I just feel like they don't take social cues well. And I feel like when they see somebody intoxicated, how can you make them make decisions like how can you make them how can you expect them to make critical decisions? Like, you are sitting here talking to an intoxicated person, right? And then Jay Wilson said he will be Tommy's, you know what? hmm He told him that he would beat his, you know what? And then they started complaining about his drinking, which I didn't see, a big deal about because, like I said, once again, Tommy is an adult. He was drinking in his home, and that's just what he does. And so, in the conversation, Vivian had brought up her dad and, or Tommy's dad and was like, my dad's a preacher too. And Tommy kind of went overboard and, he overly expressed himself. He's like, you just don't talk about my dad. And what I didn't understand is when they saw that the boy was, losing it, they didn't decide to lift up off the gas. They decided to accelerate. Okay. They decided to accelerate. So that was that. And then so Castro sat there and told Tommy, please get offline. But unfortunately, he was triggered and couldn't let it go. So Tommy was just over there and he was definitely triggered and they knew what they were doing. They are old school, like they always say they're old school, you know, manipulating um the younger generation. Because it's like apparently the people they don't respect you because they don't take your advice. But we're gonna move right along. Okay, so let's see. Tommy was saying that he was bony and he was insecure. And you know, with that, I mean, I don't know what to tell Tommy. I would just say, keep living, keep living. Um, and then Vivian tries to intervene like several times, and she got talked right over. I mean, the guys were talking over her, and so was Jay Wilson. And Jay Wilson turned Tommy on by saying, "I'll whoop your blank. I'll whoop your blank." Jay Wilson says, "Boy, I will whoop your blank." And Tommy says, "Well, why Castro can't whoop my blank?" And Tommy says that, oh, Passa, when you tell me that you're going to whoop my blank, oh my God, that turns me on. Clock it. Jay Wilson apologized after saying that he'll beat his blank. He never made a disclaimer that DV is never funny, but hey, it's content. And, I don't want to hear no victim blaming. Like, this is what y'all like. This is what I'm reviewing. This is what I'm recapping. And hopefully y'all enjoyed it. That's all I got. See you next time. So long.